I'm Pam Wheeler, and we're still here with our ugly sweaters, and we're continuing our look back at 2015 with our picks for top story of the year. So, Brett, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Out of all the stories that came down in 2015, I want you to pick your top story.
Well, there were so many, and we've covered so many things on here, but I felt like, at least locally, one of the top stories was really the whole election process this past year, because so many big firsts came out of that, with Megan Barry being elected mayor. We've got Nancy Van Rees, who, make sure I get this correctly, is the first out lesbian elected to a legislative body. If she were here, she would smack me if I got that wrong.
That's
In
right.
Tennessee.
In Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that caveat.
Yeah.
It also gave us a note where, there's Nancy and Megan now. It also gave us the most diverse council that we've had. So we've come a long way just in the last year thanks to an election cycle. James, you're shaking your head. I feel like you got something to say over there.
Yeah, you know, I mean, thinking about having heard from all the mayoral candidates,
Yeah.
right? We had all those mayoral candidates were willing to go on the record as being gay affirming, trans affirming. That's
Well, yeah,
unusual.
they participated in the LGBT chamber debate, which was fantastic.
That's
I mean,
right.
everybody, there wasn't anybody sort of out in left field on any of our topics, really.
Nope.
So
Very
you approve
encouraging.
of his top story.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Chuck, I think you're next. What's your top story of the year?
Well, marriage equality.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You know, it just happened to be in the headlines, you know.
We talked about it a few times.
Yeah, exactly. 12 months we
Yeah.
talked about this.
Yeah.
But it was, to me, it was very just heartening to see this all happen. And just so that I get his name right, Jim Obergefell, the marriage equality activist. This was very exciting. And it was because of his husband, John Arthur, who died from ALS in 2013, that Obergefell decided that he would no longer allow himself and Arthur to be treated as second-class citizens. He filed suit against the state of Ohio to demand recognition of their Maryland marriage and to make sure that Arthur's name was on the death certificate. And that chain of events led Obergefell to become the lead plaintiff in the landmark marriage equality case, Obergefell versus Hodges, and that, of course, is what they argued before the Supreme Court this year, and that's where it all stemmed from.
Also on the
right.
Out 100 list there, too.
Yes, yes, he
Oh, was
was.
he?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
And he was here in November with, was it HRC?
Yeah.
Yep. So, you know, he's doing his rounds now and representing. So, I think that this story is also going to be the source of some of the biggest news stories in Tennessee for 2016, because the attempts to sort of reject the Supreme Court ruling are going to make us look worthy of being on The Daily Show.
You're putting
Oh,
a toe
yeah.
into our
Yeah.
next show. Be careful.
That's right, we're going to be talking about that next.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah.
So it's my turn, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because marriage really, to me, was the top story of the year, we did talk about it month in, month out, I think from January through December, here we are. So I'm going to attach my big story to the marriage ruling, and that was, after the marriage ruling, the Episcopal Church allows gay marriage. The Bishop of the Episcopal Church have authorized their clergy to perform same-sex weddings, and they voted at their convention. There are some, you know, they're allowing clergy to not do it. You know, it's not a mandate.
Right.
But they voted overwhelmingly to let this happen, to change the language in their ceremonies. It's a big deal.
It really is.
And that's why I picked it.
No, I think it's a big deal, too. I mean, simply because we live in the South, and religion's a big part of everyday life here, and just to see a major religion actually step forward. We've actually had the pastor from St. Anne's on before to talk about this, and it was just really an affirming step. They actually did some of this before the ruling came down,
Yes.
that
Right.
they were going to do allow their clergy to do the ceremonies.
Right, and for some folks, and my partner's one of them, that wants to get married in a church, so you get the decision from the Supreme Court, but that doesn't always mean that you're going to get to marry in your home church.
Right.
And really, for us, we don't know how it's going to shake down here, you know, in Middle Tennessee yet, but it's still such a great thing.
And even as people argue this, though, about, you know, are you forcing this down our throats kind of thing, you know, as no pastor is required by law to marry
That's
anyone.
right.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
so that's why I think sometimes people just want to get people up in arms about this. But a lot of churches are coming a long way, and that's encouraging.
Yeah. Though, you know, one of our most popular stories of the year was related to the Episcopal bishop in Tennessee, who has been the most active anti-LGBT marriage supporter in the church. So, you know, we have a local connection there, and I think that's something to be watched for as well.
You want to see where he's going to end up?
I want to see how he's going to react, what he's going to do with his ministers, whether he's going to be punitive. Yeah.
You know, with him, I wonder what it is when he's hearing some of the feedback, because a lot of the feedback is for this. It's very pro, you know, the marriage equality and for these churches. So I just wonder if he's going to start being swayed a little, especially as 2016, you know, comes to be.
I think a lot of bishops have their group of advisors who tell them what they want to hear, you surround yourself with people who agree with you, and I hope he will change his mind, but I don't see that happening. I see
Right.
him getting more entrenched.
Right. Well, so I'm just going to put you guys on the spot about a story that you were so tired of hearing about. Okay?
I have an answer.
I know, because we all saw that Saturday Night Live skit, right? I think we might have even talked about it here. What is your answer?
I was going to say Kim Davis. I'm so tired of hearing about her.
I know, and I fed into that because I made us talk about it several times.
Well, we all did. It was unavoidable.
Yeah. And how many Halloween costumes did you see a couple months ago? I saw several of Kim Davis.
Oh, I saw a lot.
Yeah.
And people, whenever a friend of mine went as, he went as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and his partner went as Kim Davis, and I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that is
and
good.
actually, the pastor of our church did that, so I thought it was hysterical.
We settled the notion, or I guess it was settled that she did not actually meet with the Pope, right? That was
Right,
the
she
final.
did not, exactly.
She did not. So
Right.
I was really that little bump in the road really kind of threw me when I thought she weaseled her way in.
She was like in the building.
She was in the building, right, yeah.
And there might have been a hello. Like,
Right. But he did have a friend, one of his gay friends for years, that he did, also talk to briefly and that sort of thing, and his partner. So it was nice to see those pictures of the three of them.
Yeah. Are y'all going to read her book?
Oh, no.
You know what? I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a book.
Well, I don't know that there's been confirmation yet. I'm just kind of making the best guess that
there
somebody will
be.
write it and
Somebody
put her
will,
name
yeah.
on it.
I question the market. I wonder, most of her supporters wouldn't read it.
I don't know how many.
You
I
almost
asked
said
the
something
question.
else.
Is there anything else?
I'm sorry,
We're
I'm
almost-
totally lambasted the conversation.
We're
You got-
almost out of time. Is there anything else you're tired of? You'll be glad to see retire in 2015.
You've stumped Chuck.
I know.
Well, it's because the Kim Davis thing was that was
sorry,
just
I
at the
know.
very top of the list. Outside of the fact that now that whole group is speaking, like her husband came and he spoke
Yeah.
at one of those anti-gay rallies here, and they said, quite frankly, he really is not a speaker, to put it kindly. So
Right.
it's like, why did they even have him?
Right. Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to close on that note. It's the end of the year. We're going to see you guys in the next segment, though.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, yes, I'm talking to the folks at Actors Bridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm about to tell everybody that. So we'll be right back with Chuck and a special holiday edition of the Entertainment Outlook. After the break, stay with us.